Those who are challenger are among the top 0.01 best TFT players in the world, and what separates them from the 99.99% other TFT players are mostly the same thing. I have played TFT a lot, and I have faced many types of players. I also did regular game analysis, and I can tell you that most of you can climb to Grandmaster at the very least if you focus in stopping making 5 mistakes, and I'm going to explain them in this video. I personally went from hard-stuck diamond in set 4 to challenger in less than 30 days when I stopped making these mistakes, and if I did it, you can do it too. You are going to say it clicked before the end of the video. Each carry unit has its best in slot items. These items allow them to reach 100% of their potential, and it allows you to have better chances at winning late game fights. This is why everyone is trying to gather the best components for their carries, but this is often a bait. If TFT were a game where you just select your units and items before fighting, then chasing the BIS would be the correct play. But TFT is a game where you need first to focus on your early game and your mid game to prepare correctly your late game. And if you forget about this part, you're never going to reach the late game fights. Let's say you want to play Seraphine carry with innovators. Our best in slot for hyper carry is Shojin, Morello and Archangel. But at stage 3-1 you have a bow, a tier and a road. These are great components for Seraphine, but you can't make any of her best in slot right now. Many players will wait for the carousel and PvE fights in order to gather the remaining items and play the whole stage 3 with 3 components sitting on the bench. But it also means that you will play with the weak board for an entire stage, and you might lose a lot of health because of that greed. And the worst is that you have absolutely no guarantee that you will find the components that you will need in order to build your BIS on Seraphine. TFT is all about managing your army, but your health as well. If you lose 100 HP, you lose the game. It sounds obvious, but trading your health with the weak board for items that you might never find is often a bad idea. It's often better to forget your BIS and just slam suboptimal items in early game and mid game in order to make you stronger and save a lot of HP while also damaging your opponents. If we take the same example with Seraphine, with a bow, a tier and a roll, I would have slammed Static on the 2-star unit with a good base attack speed like Ezreal or Zyra for instance. I know Static is much less valuable than Shojin on Seraphine, but it still grants more attack speed and magic resistance shred, so it's still a good item for her. But more importantly, this item will just save you 20 HP during stage 3, and maybe you will even win fights, so it means that other people will lose their health, and suddenly this is how you can be at the top of your lobby if you're not used to do that. If you don't know exactly what you should slam when you should not, and you often end up greeding with 4, 5, 6 components on your bench, I will ask you to focus on this when you play your games. It is basically to never have 3 components or more on your bench, and try to always slam good items in early game which are generic but still strong, like Warmog, Sunfire, Morello, Static, Last Whisper, Chalice, etc. If you stop getting baited by your BIS, then I can guarantee that you can climb to Platinum at least very easily. It is great to have a good idea of the final comp you want to play when you start the game. It allows you to focus on finding relevant items, and also it allows you to know how to manage your account properly. But what if you are contested? Or what if you just don't drop any items that are fitting your comp? If you don't have a plan B in your mind, you might just lose the game because your plan A will fail. And instead of insulting Mordog on Twitter, here's what you can do in order to make your gameplay more flexible. What makes you choose a comp in TFT are the items. They have so much impact that it's impossible to play your comp if you don't have relevant items. On average, we have 3 completed items at stage 3-1, and that's half for what you will get until the very late game. You have to use this as the fundamental information to set your late game plans. Look at your offensive components like swords, bows, roads, and tiers, and think of great offensive items you can make with them. You have Last Whisper? Great! You can play challengers, but don't hesitate to keep assassins or snipers open because you might be contested, or maybe you will find Jhin very easily. Try to change your mindset to make it open for many options you wouldn't have thought of it before. Try to analyze your different options at stage 3-1 and pick your favorite option and know what to do in case your plan A doesn't work. If you apply this, you will almost never go 8th or 7th. And if you try to play more flexibly with this new mindset, having a plan A, plan B and even plan C, then you should be able to climb to Diamond very easily. Reaching a level 8 or even level 9 sooner than others is often a great advantage because it allows you to reach your late game much sooner to suffocate the other players. However, if you spend all your gold into XP and you don't have anything else to roll, then you will face a weird situation. You will have much more level compared to others, but you have nothing on your board because you didn't have gold to find the units and buy them. There are many cases where people decided to push 8 or push 9 very aggressively with almost no gold left and just end up dying because they couldn't find anything, they have no more gold. The most common example is the level 7. I know that a lot of players like to push level 8 very fast in order to find a 4-cost unit, and they almost never roll at level 7. The reason is because, of course, at level 8 you have much more chance to find your 4-cost units and even 5-cost units. So what is the situation where you have to roll at level 7? Let's take this example where a player decided not to roll at level 7 at stage 4-1 because he felt comfortable with 74 HP. If we fast forward to a few rounds later, we can see that he lost half of his health. Because he lost a lot of health with this decision, he decided to push level 8 with only 20 gold left in order to find Jin 2. If we look at the statistics, it costs on average 64 gold to find a 2-star 4-cost unit at level 8, which means that you need to roll around 32 times. And it costs on average 108 gold to find a 2-star 4-cost unit at level 7. Since it costs 56 gold to push from level 7 to level 8, we can say that rolling at 7 or pushing level 8 and rolling at level 8 in order to find a 2-star 4-cost unit is around the same cost on average. However, there is a big difference between rolling at level 7, pushing level 8 and roll at level 8. In the same situation, if he decided to roll at level 7, he would have probably found Jin much sooner and also a lot of upgrades like 2-star 3-cost units, better tanks, better support unit, etc. So in the end, he would have been stronger much sooner and he could have saved 38 HP while also dealing damages to other players. Does this mean you have to roll all the time at level 7? Not necessarily, because of course if you want to find a lot of 4-cost units, not just one, then it's better to roll at level 8 because at level 7 you just might never find all of them. However, there is one rule you can apply in your game. Whenever you push at stage 3-1, 4-1 and 5-1, you have to roll if you think your board is not strong enough to win the next fight. The best way to know whether your board is strong enough or not is to check the following fights. If you win easily, then it means that you are stabilized. But if you lose the fight by a lot, then it probably means that your board is weak and you need to upgrade it. Don't try to push your level if you're losing all the fight. You just have one more unit on the board and it's not going to save you the game. Try to apply this to save a lot of HP in early game and mid game, and that way you'll have a lot of free top 4. If you decide to roll at level 6 and 7 more often, because you know that your board is weak and you stabilize your board, you should be able to reach Master kinda easily. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. It's always difficult to truly understand the impact of scouting until you scout thoroughly. Especially if you guys are fans of Soju who prefers to spend 30 seconds clicking on his units instead of actually scouting for more information. Honestly, this guy has amazing decision making, and if only he would scout a bit more, he could easily the best TFT players. Well, at least he's very entertaining to watch.
I mean, it's not an 8th, right? Like...
But if you don't scout, how would you know that you are contested on your main unit? How would you know that your carry is safe from the assassins? And how would you know if a bodyguard augment is actually relevant in your game or not? Many of you guys would pick at your friends' answers during an exam in order to succeed. So why would you not pick at everyone's board when it's so free and gives you all the information you need to win the game? Even though scouting seems boring and actually difficult to do on a regular basis, this is mandatory to improve your decision making. You're hesitating between bodyguard and something else? Scout to see if more armor is worth it. You want to play for rework comp? Then scout to make sure that you're not contested. Do you have a solo Vex frontline? Scout to make sure there is no Tankenge who is going to delete your whole frontline, just like I did here. The key is to always scout before making an important decision. Also, with the set 6.5, we will have a player tracker that allows us to know better who we might face every round. With that, you have no more excuse not to scout anymore. If you start to scout every time before making a big decision, then with time and practice, you should be able to reach Grandmaster. Studies show that viewers who liked Frobe's video and subscribed to his channel win on average 200 LP in 2 weeks. Seems fair. Well, if you still don't trust these studies, then you can still subscribe to this channel and like this video, and you can try just after on your recent game to see if you really earn 200 LP. The augments add another layer of complexity, making the game more difficult to master. And I will be honest with you guys, this is the part I'm struggling the most with right now. But after analyzing my own game and analyzing the games of top-ranked players, I can start to understand what's good here and what we can do in order to have better augments in our games in general. There are two types of augments. The augments that increase the power of your team, such as makeshift armor, knife edge, or tank heart for instance, and there are the icon augments such as rich gets richer, calculated loss, trick setter, or even metabolic accelerator, which allows you to get infinite gold with a good loss streak with almost no downside. We don't control the augments which are given to us, but there are hidden rules we should always follow. Out of the 3 augments, we should always choose at least 2 combat augments. If you watch closely the top 1 in your games, they mostly have 2 or 3 combat augments that fit perfectly their team composition, and this is what you should try to aim. The second rule is to never pick a silver or gold icon augment as your second or third augment. You can only pick them in stage 1 in order to snowball your icon. The third rule is to never ever pick a icon prismatic augment as stage 1-4. These are baits. Everyone will have insane balls with build different, knife edge, emblem souls, and so on. So if you decide to pick an augment that doesn't improve your ball strength instantly, then you can easily finish the stage 2 with only 60 HP left already. As for the last rule, it's okay to give up a silver augment. Let's say you had a start with Arcanist Heart and you managed to have a great early game and mid game with it. Unfortunately for you, you just don't have the items to play Arcanist for a late game comp. Then you can give up the Arcanist tree and try to play with what your items tell you to play. Silver augments don't have enough impact in the game to force you to play something. They are great for direction, but they should never stop you from having a plan B and switching your team comps. If you manage to better pick your augments, and if you apply all the things I've said before in this video, then with practice and time, I'm pretty sure you will have all the skills and capacity to push to Challenger. Now you know what separates Challenger players and the other players. While avoiding these mistakes might take a lot of practice and time, but you will be able to do it as long as you keep the good mindset. Like Sun Tzu once wrote in his book The Art of War, victorious tacticians win first and then go to war, while defeated tacticians watch Soju stream first and then seek to win. If you want to have more examples of games where I actually show these mistakes and the impact of these mistakes, I have a playlist where I coached many players from different elos and you just need to pick the one you are interested in. With that being said, let's climb together and claim the top of the ladder.
I mean, it's not an 8, right? Like, I don't get it. Like, where is my gold going on 3-2?